Hey guys, how you doing? Jack the Life Man here. I thought I'd do an updated video, something I haven't spoke about in a very long time, something that I feel is very useful to know, especially for those of you who still have the mortgage insurance with the bank. And I'm just going to tell you the whole truth and everything about it. I've got my computer right here in front of me so I can make sure I don't miss any of the key points. But why should you use a life insurance policy rather than a mortgage insurance protection from the bank? And it's very simple. There's about 10 different reasons. I'm going to go through all of them. So maybe a little bit of a longer video than normal. But the first reason is, do you actually want to get paid out? I mean, do you want to, would you want your family to actually see that money? And I say that openly and honestly because the truth of the matter is the mortgage insurance from the bank does what's called post-claim underwriting. A fancy way of basically saying that they will do the underwriting, they'll do the medical check and everything else after you die. We've done research on this. We've looked at 5 different applications from the banks. They all look very similar. Their writing is not very clear or concise. The questions are all jumbled together. 2 or 3 of the questions that came out were actually really stupid, if you ask me. One of them was, have you ever been tested for blood pressure? Every time you go to the doctor and they put a cuff on your arm, you're tested for blood pressure. So what does that mean if you answered no? And the truth is, 85% of people, for whatever reason, answer this question no, because all these questions are kind of jumbled together in one big one. Another question that they ask is, have you ever suffered from a stomach disorder? Obviously, you're thinking to yourself, what is a stomach disorder? That's got to be something pretty crazy. You wouldn't think it's a flu or a stomach flu, or maybe it's traveler's diarrhea, pardon my French. But basically, what that means, if you actually Google what is a stomach disorder or Google stomach disorder, those are actually the things that come up. So I'm not saying that they won't pay out on every occasion, but what happens is, if something were to happen to you, they'll go back to that application, they'll look at that, and they will see what these things are. And then it kind of gives them the right to go back to your family doctor, obtain a report, and see what else they can come at you with. Were there any inconsistencies in your story? So that's one thing I really don't like. The difference between that and using a life insurance product is, with life insurance, what they do is they do a thorough medical underwriting. They'll have a nurse come see you. They'll pay, they pay the nurse to do this. They take urine, they do blood. Occasionally, if they see issues that arise, they'll even write to your family doctor, and they'll pay that family doctor to obtain it. So they're doing their due diligence in making sure you're healthy. They will have the nurse ask you a series of 50 or 60 questions that are short and concise and pretty clear and to the point. There are imperfections in everything. Could everything be improved? Yes. But if you compare to what the mortgage insurance is doing versus what life insurance is offering you, it's a no-brainer. So that's the first thing, is you want somebody who does underwriting right away. Okay, they're going to spend the money to have a nurse come see you and do all those tests. The second thing is, and we've done comparisons on this, is number 2 is, the life insurance is 90% of the time cheaper. You're getting way more coverage, you're getting a better price for a longer term. And what most people don't realize is, if you take out a term 30, it's going to cover you for 30 years. If you take out a mortgage insurance protection from the bank, usually what happens is, especially in the economy the way it is right now, is it's a term 5. So your product will stick with you for 5 years, and then you're going to shop around, and you may go from one bank to another. And if you do that, then you're going to have to reapply for that mortgage insurance all over again. You'll be 5 years older, your health may have changed, you may not even get it. So it's always better to get either a life insurance product that's going to stick with you for life, or a longer term that's going to protect you for the duration of your mortgage, and it's going to be cheaper. So I'll give you another reason, and that reason is mortgage insurance is what we call declining coverage. So yes, your mortgage may be $500,000, and all of a sudden, you've been paying for 10 years, and that mortgage is now, you only owe, $350,000 on it, but you're still paying the same monthly premium for that of $500,000, and that will go on even to $50,000. Whereas with life insurance, your premium is going to stay the same for the same amount of coverage for the duration of the term. So it's more bang for your buck. It's a no-brainer. life insurance is portable. All right, so life insurance is going to cover you wherever you move to. Doesn't matter where your local house is. If you decide that you're going to move to a bigger house, it's still going to follow you. If you decide you want to rent, it's still going to follow you. If you move to a different country, it's still going to follow you as long as you have a Canadian bank account open. Whereas with the mortgage insurance, the minute you sell that house, the insurance is tied directly to the mortgage. Which brings us to another reason, which is the beneficiary. So the beneficiary with mortgage insurance is a no-brainer again, it's the bank, whereas with the life insurance, it's your spouse or your children, it's who you want it to be, and they can make the decision whether they want to pay off all the mortgage or half of the mortgage or pay the mortgage monthly, whatever is deemed best for them at that point in time. It gives them way more flexibility and it gives you a lot more peace of mind. Another one here is life insurance has what we call preferred rates. So if your health is better than the average bear, then you might get a preferred or even a super preferred rate, which means 20 to 30% off in savings. Okay, and that's significant, whereas with the mortgage insurance, it's kind of one price fits all. Another feature is when you're purchasing your mortgage insurance, usually there are two parties purchasing it, so it's you and your spouse. With life insurance, if something were to happen to both of you simultaneously, like a plane crash or a car crash, it will actually pay you double of what you owe. So whereas if the mortgage again was $500,000, it would only pay out $500,000 if both of you died. Whereas with the life insurance, a little bit of a bonus, it'll actually pay out $1 million, which is kind of cool. Little bonus. The other thing is mortgage insurance will never let you lower your coverage. So if you wanted to kind of bring your price down, you were saying, hey, you know what, I don't want coverage for the full $500,000. I want to lower it to $250,000. Mortgage insurance doesn't allow you to do that, whereas life insurance will allow you to lower the coverage and thus save on your premiums, especially if you're going through a hard economic time. I think that's basically it. I think that is very helpful in just outlining why, the biggest reason obviously is to get the payout and make sure you're getting paid out by doing the right things, by doing the proper underwriting, by doing the proper medicals, by making sure that you've done your due diligence. Going with life insurance is just a no-brainer. If you thought that what I gave you here was helpful, please feel free to download my free ebook. It's called The Naked Truth About Life Insurance. It will give you in-depth information that's not boring in any way, shape, or form. It's actually a pretty interesting book, and it'll give you a step-by-step method on how to get approved and what scenarios or issues you might run into along the way. You can get that at my lifeman.ca website. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again shortly. Take care.